Hello, America, and to our friends around the world, greetings and welcome back. I've come across a few video snippets that I wanted to share with you, and I want them, they may not seem all that connected, but in a way, some of them are. As you can read here in the opening text scroll, if I'd been in Germany, I would have helped hide the targets you decided while learning about World War II in sixth grade. And that goes for Cambodia, the Khmer Rouge, obviously the National Socialists of Germany. At present, we're seeing it happening in real time in Europe. Just the first week of the last couple days of March, they enacted a it already existed, but it became official. If you're a man, you get stiffer and more damaging penalties. If you're a woman or a minority, I don't recall, and I've used this example in the past. It's oh, it's just one of those days, dismissing it as PMS or, it's justified because of women's emotions. And in fact, even in the news, there's the woman that after nearly 30 years after murdering her newborn baby boy, the judge said, yep, we're just going to give you a suspended sentence because, you murdered a baby. No big loss. This is the reality. This is you. This is you. This is me. But especially, this is every little girl that sits there thinking that they would have helped whatever that girl's name was in the attic. Oh my gosh. Excuse me. It's late for me right now as I'm recording this. Anne Frank. The Diary of Anne Frank. They've made adaptations of it. And people are always moved by it in a passion of, oh, I would have done that. I would have helped her survive. You no, as this video I'm about to play for you demonstrates, no, you wouldn't have, as evidenced by the fact of March is Women's Month and the numbers of women who have gotten away with the atrocities that they've committed. But it's not just women. There's obviously their spineless, ballless, doormat, white knight cuckold beta males that enable them. So I'm going to play that for you, and then we'll proceed from there. If you'd been in Germany, you would have helped hide the Jews while you decided while learning about them about World War II. You held a ladybug once during recess, decided you wanted to be a good person. Now that you've grown up, does your hatred really feel like truth and clarity? I wonder if you sleep at night with the distant, unplaceable feeling that you've forgotten something important. I wonder if you whined between denial and self righteous blame is because if you didn't, you'd have to remember yourself, the little girl you left behind. And you'd have to realize that you betrayed her. How could you? How could you? And it's the closing image of a dead, squashed ladybug. It had cringe music, which I decided to edit out, and I wanted to read this so if you're driving, you don't have to look at the screen and cause an accident. So the next image um, is from John Davis, and it's the running gag of Russian roulette. You spin the wheel, for the revolver, and you load one cartridge in, and you spin it, snap it shut, or spin it shut, and spin it and snap it shut, and then you pull the trigger. There's another joke about semi-automatics. Ha ha ha. Yeah, it doesn't work. But the contrast here is that Russian roulette, you have a 1 in 6 chance, which is much better odds than with civil, or state ordained, marriage. And that is, anybody who's ever been married knows that you go to the county courthouse and you get the paperwork from the clerk, fill out the license, blah blah blah, and then if anything goes bad, if you're a man, you're the bad guy. I've known men who were forcibly removed from their home that they paid for, that their name was on for no other reason than a false allegation. And I have no doubt that you've heard these stories, or you know these situations, or may have even experienced it yourself. Terrence Popp does a lot of work on documenting that information. But tying into the first video, right now in Keir Starmer's, Britain, you have the two-tiered system where if you're a man, you're automatically guilty with a more severe sentence. If you're a woman, hey, no big deal. You can you can murder your newborn baby, and we're not going to do anything. In fact, we're going to apologize for wasting your time taking you into court. Fortunately, the UK is on the verge of collapse, and I have warned you plenty of times to get out of there. And if you haven't, get out. And there's going to be an avenging angel that is going to seek its, that's going to seek these people out and do to them what needs to be done. The next clip is only going to be 10 seconds long, but it is a demonstration of not, it's titled, How Democrats Help, but in reality, it's an apt descriptor of our present society and how it treats boys and men. All right, so here you go. I mean, it's the fallacy of the helping hand. I'll help you climb up, but as they're offering a hand, they're cranking the ladder, propelling it downward. The idea is you know, they can say with a straight face, "I've reached my hand down. You didn't. It's not my fault you didn't reach it." As they're further lowering the ladder to your demise. I mean, it's a visual. It's quite clear what it's being demonstrated here. So here is Chris Williamson. He has a popular YouTube video interview series. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's either Brett or Eric Weinstein whom he's speaking with. The video didn't title as to who it was. Somebody had it ripped onto TikTok, I think, because of the way it closes out. But why teenage boys are becoming more right wing? Yeah, he makes a very valid point. All the other options are blocked. They're exhausted. Where else are they going to go? There's a home for them, in a manner of speaking. And you can call it whatever you want. You can call it vile. You can call it evil. You can call it hateful. But that's called projection. The left is such an ideologically captured institution that they will excommunicate their own members if they aren't interpreted or perceived to be a devotee, the most pure devotee of it. And the leftists, I mean, both the conservative movement and the Republicans, as well as the Democrats, are captured by feminism and gynocracy, misandry. But it's more than that. So let's let these two have their conversation, and we'll come back to it.
Have you seen the data showing the movement of teenage boys politically to the right? Have you been looking at
Well,
this?
where else are they going to go?
It's a good question.
I mean, I had a teenage boy. I still have one, but he's 18 now. And I watched them be pushed farther and farther right by their schools. You suck. All of your instincts are bad. These girls are amazing. Look at you. You're pathetic. Be less masculine and more attractive. You're just barking at them constantly. They're not moving right. They're moving out of your stupid way. You've given them what? Nothing. Nothing. One of my son's friends died recently by his own hand. And I don't know what kind of pressures he was put under. But I watched those kids go through this pressure cooker created by this crazy, parasitized, left-wing educational movement. Get away from our sons. Get away from our daughters. Get away from our sons and away from our daughters. It's not left or right. I don't have a Republican bone in my body. Get the crazy people who do not understand human development away from our children.
All right, so what can be done about it? In front of you is Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, and he's being interviewed by Tucker Carlson, and they're discussing tariffs. All right, so you hear a lot about tariffs. And number one, if you're not already aware, any tariffs that are being placed, from my understanding, are what's considered reciprocal, reciprocity. That means tit for tat, quid pro quo. All right? If you have widgets that you're selling to me, and I have widgets that need widgets, if you charge me a tariff, a surcharge, because it's me, I am now imposing the same percentage tariff or surcharge for you buying the completed assembly. That's all that's going on. Canada's whining and crying. Yeah, you know what? What was it? I can't remember the place. There's a few places on that chart that he held up that were 10%. And he said, you know what? 10%, we're going to match it 10%. And then China doubles down and puts it at, what, 40 something plus percent after it being 30%. So he matches it at that. President Trump, that is. And what this does is it de-incentivizes trade, importing, and it incentivizes domestic production. All of this that has been built up prior to, oh, I would have been a good person if, we need to keep sick, twisted people that are, the leftist feminists off of our children because they're castrating them. This is part of how you do that, and that is you provide the means for somebody to support their family. Right now, we have so many people that are just lost and bewildered because they don't have a means of supporting themselves, of taking care of a family, let alone even achieving or acquiring one. That is the cause of a lot of the issues that go on, is the fact that, 80% of instructors in school are women. More than 60%, more than 70% of households are ran by women only. They don't know how to take a boy and demonstrate how to become a man. I don't care what you say. You can't do it. You're lying and you're disingenuous. And if you are going to keep tripling and tripling down on it, you're the disease. As how did Sean Strickland say it? You're the infection or something.
Man, well, dude, you're a weak fucking man, dude. You're part of the fucking problem. You elected Justin Trudeau. Like, when he sees the bank accounts, like, you're just fucking pathetic. And the fact that you have no fucking backbone, and has he shut down your fucking country and seize bank accounts, you ask me some stupid shit like that, go fuck yourself. And now all of a sudden, people like you have fucking weaseled your way into the world. You are an infection. You are the definition of weakness. Everything that is wrong with the world is because of fucking you.
Yeah, it ran a little longer, but I wanted to make sure to get that across. And I am sharing these concepts, these ideas, these statements that it's not just me, it's the Weinstein brothers, it's Sean Strickland. There's many others out there who are saying similar things. Calling people out for their apathy and for their simping behavior. It can't be allowed to persist. There's nothing wrong with respecting other people, animals, the environment. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the detriment, blocking access to getting things done, that's the problem. Castrating little boys, that's evil. Exonerating women 3 decades, well, not even just 3 decades. Last month, March 2025, how many reports did I include that were of mothers that killed their children, either at birth or somewhere along their life? It's because of you. You're the infection. You let it happen. And how do you stop that from happening? You allow people to have their dignity. I mean, it shouldn't even have to be said to be able to allow them to have their dignity. Self-respect should be a given. One's dignity should be capable of being protected by yourself. If you can't be your own best advocate, you can't expect anybody to take you seriously. All right, let's see what Secretary Bessent has to say to Tucker about the tariffs.
And President Trump cares, this administration cares, and this is the first step towards realigning that. A lot of our trading partners, including some of our allies, have not been good partners. If tariffs are so bad, why do they have them? Why do they have them? Right? Or if the American consumer is going to pay all the tariff, then why do they care about tariffs? Right? Because they're going to eat them. So, I think that this is the beginning of a process. We're going to reindustrialize, that we have gone to a highly financialized economy. We have stopped making things, especially a lot of things that are relevant for national security. I think one of the few good outcomes from COVID was we had a beta test for what maybe a kinetic war with a large adversary could look like. And it turned out that these highly efficient supply chains were not strategically secure. So that we don't make our own medicines, that we don't make our own semiconductors, that we don't make our own ships anymore. So I think if I were to say, was there any good outcome from COVID? It woke the world up to these supply chain problems.